Alright, so our last video has caused us to want to have a deeper conversation. And we're gonna film it, so here we go. I'm pissed about the Ahmaud situation. I'm pissed that it took 3 months. I don't understand how a crime happens in February. It's filmed, but there's not an arrest made until May. I don't believe this guy. I think his name is Brian, the one who actually filmed the tape. I don't believe him. I don't believe you didn't know who those two people were. I don't believe
to be in cahoots with them like that, to be following them, to get in your car.
I'm sorry, but no one's following somebody with shotguns unless you're familiar with them.
You're familiar with who they are.
They're not gonna turn on you. Your natural instinct is to
what
stay
the
back.
What is going on?
And stay back and call 911.
Right.
So, sir, I don't believe you. I know you've been on my prominent channel, my CNN, but I don't believe you. And I'm just angry about it. They're trying to introduce trespassing as a reason for why these two white men decided to drive and shoot him.
But they are not the owners of that property.
No, it wasn't their property
and
at all.
Also, I understand we have, trespassing laws. You're not supposed to be on private property, but that's no excuse to pursue someone, try to make a citizen's arrest, and ultimately end up ending their life when they defend themselves from you. That's reactionary to see you see what you doing? You coming up on me,
first of
riding
all,
in the back of a
how
truck.
are you making a citizen's arrest with no handcuffs?
That's what I'm saying.
What are you expecting to do but fight a person? You coming up to this person of any race, you running up on somebody, you run up on a woman and she fighting you back.
That
is what it is.
People are gonna fight for their lives and fight, for their personal safety no matter what. So we can't. This whole narrative of the angry black person and, the, pre-World War II propaganda of, black people are the ones doing all these violent crimes because they get angry, they're easily provoked. It's no, that's a very human reaction to have.
His action. Yeah. Unfortunately, I saw the video and I was really trying to avoid seeing the video, but unfortunately I saw the video today. And I'm sorry, I'm jogging. My back is to you. I can feel your car approaching
coming up on me, right?
I can feel that. So I'm already scared that I feel this car has slowed down and is approaching me. But then on top of that, somebody is hopping out of the car and approaching me, and I'm realizing I can't outrun you. I'm fighting.
Right.
That's it. You've provoked me to assault you
me.
Because you and ideally you've assaulted me first. You know what I'm saying? And then there's somebody who you can't, the father, that I don't even want to call him a father because he's that damn trifling. But you with this shotgun, you're like, oh my God, my son's being attacked, and now you're shooting off rounds.
But a 12-gauge shotgun that is not a precisely aimed weapon. You can't, a shotgun sprays. It's not something that is like a handgun that's very concentrated. It's not something like a rifle with you want it to go one specific place. You shoot a shotgun, it's spraying everywhere. So do you then have even regard for your son's life?
Right.
To be just boom, just shooting off rounds from a 12 gauge out the back of a truck.
That's why I don't.
And then somebody's clearly injured and trying to run away from you. You shot twice, from what I could tell in the video, while the altercation is going. Then the person's trying to escape, is clearly wounded, hurt, injured. You shoot again when the confrontation is seemingly over. And I know these things happen very quickly. They can seem like when we film them that they happen, over 5 minutes or whatever. But fights and stuff like that, and we know, last quick. And things happen so fast. But it's just how. It's all of the things that lead up to it, the action. So we could talk about, all the action and stuff during it, what your mindset is while it's happening, but that happens fast. But to me, it's all of the premeditated stuff that happens before that goes into you doing it.
To me, it's the fact that you're...
More so.
It is so hard for me not to curse doing this. For me, it's the fact that your white body decided, I saw this black person inside of a construction.
Not even a house.
Not even a house
the
that
bones
people
of a
lived
house.
in. It wasn't finished. but open construction. There are plenty of curious people who have walked up on a construction site.
Let's see how this sandalwood is and what people look at people's cars.
Yes.
Like we look at people's cars all the time. Oh, what they set up is like, I wonder what they got. And it's like, you know, you're not meaning any harm, but you're trespassing. You're you know what I'm saying? You're infringing upon someone's property.
Right.
But it doesn't rise to the level that somebody's coming out the store because I'm checking out their stuff and popping me in the head.
It doesn't rise to the level of somebody getting off their porch, whatever they have, whatever their plot of land is, getting off of it, grabbing their shotgun, okay, collecting their son, deciding to then, these are all the decisions you had to make
before you premeditated.
You had to decide, okay, I'm going to follow him. Okay, let me grab my gun. Let me have my son come along, or let me tell my dad and have my dad come along. Then we're going to decide what car we're taking, who's driving. All of these things have to be decided before you then you then start pursuing him.
Right.
Then when you're pursuing him, you got time to think. What am I gonna do when I approach you?
Right.
And that is enough time in my head. I'm not a lawyer, but that's enough time for me for you to make the decision. I'm about to shoot this mother. Like that's.
No, it really.
That's
really
enough
is.
time.
It really is. It's insane to think, and also you have the 911 records where the 911 operator, the man is telling him, "Oh, I think might be, trespassing, still, whatever he was saying. I can't, verbatim quote him right now. But that's
you were already
the operator, even in her, or their, it's like, what is he doing? There's what? So what is your point? Almost like, why are you calling me?
Right, and your response to that, he's hauling ass. That's what
he's hauling ass down the street.
That's literally what he said on the 911 call.
Okay, and if it rose to any level of suspicion where they felt like an officer needed to be dispatched or whatever, then that would have happened. Like, I just don't get why people feel so, and why people are so, especially white people, are so triggered by nothing. Like, nothing is literally going on.
Because they're afraid.
They're afraid, right.
I don't understand how you're the most powerful race on the continent, but you're the most scared.
Because of how you got there. Because it's manipulation, it's all lies, it's building your superiority based off of nothing. It's literally based off of lies, propaganda, falsities. Like, there is nothing that white people have backed by anything to tell them that they're superior to any other person on this planet.
They're weak with a lot of audacity.
And that's it. That's it. They take things that aren't theirs and they imbue it with their superior mantras and things like that to make themselves believe it, to feed it to themselves. Because there's hierarchies to that. It's not just, white people are all the same. No, they look at their poor, white trash, excuse me if that's offensive, but they look at those people like they bottom of the rung too. But at least they're still white. And that's what they hold on to. And the reason why they feel like they have all of this autonomy, they have all of this reasoning to go after people. And it's always trying to stratify people. And it's just stupid and it's ridiculous and it's been out of hand since it started. It's been out of hand from the get-go, from the jump.
But it's also, I'm glad you said that it's been out of hand from the jump, because one of the main things that I have an issue with, and I've had a history of this with my friends, like I have very serious red flags when it comes to white people. Right? And one of the things that I appreciated that Ahmaud's father said was that this was a modern day lynching. But then when you actually look at this, there was nothing modern about what happened. That was straight out of Jim Crow. That was literally two white people in a pickup truck with guns. Tell me a Black History movie where you seen somebody get lynched and it wasn't a white person in a pickup truck.
I'm just saying.
But when I say that I'm nervous and I don't trust rednecks, excuse me, in pickup trucks, and it makes me nervous. People joke with me. Like, you're being paranoid, you're being whatever, but it's not a joke. Like, what is behind you getting that pickup truck? Because are you gardening? Like, do you have a purpose for actually needing a pickup truck? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's scary. It's really scary. I'm the same way with American flags. I mean, if you got an American flag, I better see a daggone military something. Because
what you're talking about is these images that have been, that by their very nature and by the history of them are imbued with racism that is almost damn near impossible to separate and discern, which is real.
Yeah.
Like, that's what you're saying. Like, it's very real. This is the image that we see all the time. This is the historical reference that we have, is, you know, something happening or nothing happening. And is the case with Emmett Till, you know what I'm saying? Like, something that's proven to be, like, actually didn't happen, where, you know, white people get all riled up, and it's like, all right, let's go get this nigga. Like, it's what it is. And it's not nothing to not be afraid of, and it's not nothing to be like, you know, we do want to, you know, we don't want to live in, I don't want to live in fear, and I don't think anybody wants to live that way, but I don't think there's anything wrong with being skeptical about an image you see, because we're taught stranger danger. It's the same way you wouldn't trust a stranger. But when you see these strongly associated images in real life and in front of you, especially in areas you don't know about, when you're around people you don't know. In
Parkville, Maryland.
In Parkville, it's in your backyard, the people areas where you live and frequent. It is
house in Maryland. Like this is. Well, I'm sorry, if you're not familiar with the area, I'm talking about University Row. Okay, there's so many universities near the Towson area. We got Towson, Hopkins, Loyola, but there's so many, Morgan, all that's a whole stretch, Goucher even, and you have so many racist images embedded just in that area.
Mm-hmm.
So how on one hand it's like, oh, we're so diverse, like I just named some very diverse schools, but they're surrounded by areas of people that are very racist.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's been so many hate crimes and hate allegations, and hate organizations in this area, that for people to think that this stuff is new or is quote unquote modern, it's not modern. It's what it is. It's what it's been. Like, but for this Ahmaud case, what pisses me off is they didn't even go about it in a new way. They went straight white people old school, got in a pickup truck with shotguns, and went and called them a nigger. Like, that's literally what they did. And it bothers me. Like, it really, truly bothers me.
And it should. And the handling of the case is echoes back to the past of how it always has been treated. Like, oh, you know, we call out for justice, and it's the system that is protecting the very people, you know, that are causing the problems. Because it's like, oh, the father, you know, used to be, you know, working for it's the same precinct or the same whatever it was, the same station or whatever that he used to work at. So you're not gonna then in turn be like, expect them from face value to jump in and be like, oh, we're gonna do this, right? Like, no, because it even in police culture, it's very strong. And shout out to all my police, you know, who do the right thing and who, you know, who do protect and serve, and who really don't have any prejudice or anything in your heart. You shouldn't be offended. That it's like, no, that it's those other police officers like, no, we protect our own more so than anything.
That's not okay.
And that's not okay. That's just not okay. I'm just like, what do we got to do? Do we have to get internal affairs going on the moment we find out you have that close of a connection to police? Like, what do we have to do?
But the thing about it is, it goes back to a conversation we were having earlier. Skepticism of white people baffles me. Y'all got the most serial killers. Why do you think that y'all are not brutal?
We don't do that.
Y'all are brutal. Your history is the most violent. I do not understand when somebody says this white person committed this murder. Everybody, couldn't have been. And
they grew up with a good, you know, family and had and did lived in the suburbs.
But that's what your race is known of doing, being murderers, mass murderers, serial killers, serial rapists. Y'all do the violent crimes. It ain't the black folks. We just, you know, they fighting, they gangster thugging, you know, that's what they doing. Y'all do some serious violent crimes. And so I don't understand why when it comes out that a black person or a black family is saying this violent crime was done against me, you know, it's so hard to believe. A white jury is shocked. And it needs a whole lot to be convinced. And it's like, really, all you gotta do is put in the movie.
Yeah, I mean, but it's that whole thing about the falsity of whiteness as pure, and how they've built themselves in the image of whiteness to be pure. And it's like, no, we really don't do wrong. Like, we do what we have to do, or we do what we must. Or, you know, we do this because God said so. Or, you know, we do it because it's right, or it's, you know, it's American. Like, it's all of those images. It's all of that rhetoric that is put into it. That has no factual basis, but that has been repeated enough and that has been ingrained that it's just, they don't question it. Or it's like, you can't see it even when we lay it out like we're doing right now before you. Even when there's so many classes, there's so much academia, there's so much just poured into undoing like the damage that whiteness has done, that I just don't know how you can't see it. I don't know. I don't, like, it's just where it goes back to basic right and wrong that I was taught as a child. Like, when I see something wrong or I've done something wrong, I innately feel bad. Or, like, I innately, you know, feel from something, some sort of pull to be like, no, that was wrong. Mm-hmm. Or that's not right. I don't get inherently defensive. You know, something when you want to, you know, but that's also a mark to how weak your belief is that you're right, how defensive you get, I think. And if you get that defensive, it's like, something must really be wrong with you. Because if you were right, you wouldn't have to be. You wouldn't have to be so gung-ho about upholding. But because your superiority is literally so fragile.
That's really what it is.
You have to just throw something behind it because you can't explain it. So it's the because I said so. You know what I'm saying? Like, when parents can't explain to you what you did, why they do something, it's because I said so. That's not an explanation.
No, it's not.
And it's not right.
No.
So, but that's because I said so. Because.
I don't know. I really struggled with the concept of this. I struggle with the way it's being discussed. I struggle with, first of all, I struggle with the lack of coverage because of the pandemic, which I understand it is a pandemic and that is very important. However, this is a very important case. One other thing that I really find myself struggling with is white people arguing over how to handle it. Like, white people being like, I'm upset on my timeline because I haven't seen enough of my white friends talking about this. Talk about you and move on. Nobody
cares about white exhaustion.
Yeah, seriously. Like, this is not a moment for you to be exhausted. It's not a moment for you to be exhausted. I mean, if you want to be upset, be upset. But, like, this is not the time for you to be expressing all of your emotions and all of your feelings. Because I feel like if you are as concerned about this situation, try to talk about the situation as it is. Keep it
if you don't understand, be open to that.
Right.
That's fine too. I feel like one thing that a lot I think of potential maybe is the word I want to use, white activists feel maybe it's another thing about whiteness, like feeling inferior to be like, yo, I know this is fucked up. I know this is wrong. I know I'm upset. I'm hurt. I'm angry. I'm confused. But I don't know how to go about talking about it because you know what I'm saying? Because some people, like, they don't. And that's fine. They just say that. Like, but it's like just be vulnerable.
But it's not even just them though. Like, it's also black people attacking white people about how they're choosing to express themselves. And at the end of the day, quite honestly, as long as they're talking about this case in the sense of let's get it solved. This is not okay. If they're talking in that vein, it's enough. Right. We don't need to be making videos calling them out. We don't need to be attacking them. You know, they're making an effort.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, they are speaking out against their race. And I'm not saying, okay, poor allies, but I'm saying, all right, they trying, leave it alone. Like, we got bigger issues. This is not the time for us to be addressing how our allies should behave. Like, why is it that every time there's an issue that comes up, we then say, let me address these white allies? When that's something you should do regardless. You should always be checking the white people in your life. And it's, but right now, when we in the thick of it, ain't nobody got time to be worried about no daggone.
Like, I will educate you later.
Yes.
I love you, but please.
Yeah, nobody has time for that. It's annoying. It's I don't. This whole thing really, like, it's the worst for quarantine for me because without having, besides like work and school, you know, I got more time to think.
Mm-hmm.
I have more time to reflect on this. I have more time to be like, yo, this is my black skin. You know, I have more time to think about how I take walks around the neighborhood. And that could happen.
Right. That can happen right
to
here.
me.
Yep.
You know, I feel like if I don't have my mask on, I might get shot.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and in a way, it's irrational, but it's not. Like, it's a valid thing. Mm-hmm. And I think about how literally last year I was having a conversation with 2 white people in my life, explaining to them, like, yeah, running at night, that's not cute.
Mm-hmm.
And them being like, there's nothing wrong with running at night. And I'm like, yeah, but that's because you're white. Black people can't run at night. We can't go jogging.
Mm-hmm.
And here it is a year later, and a black man's going jogging during the day.
Mm-hmm.
During the day.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy to me.
Mm-hmm.
I was just having that conversation less than a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
It's unfortunate, and it makes me angry. And it's like, it's hard because having these conversations, this is what we can do on our small scale. We can have these conversations, we can film it, we can put it on YouTube. But like, it really makes you think of what else can we do.
Mm-hmm.
And you feel stuck.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Because the problem is it's exponentially bigger than the self, like the black self. Like, the problem is exponentially bigger than black people. Because this isn't just, you know, it's largely our problem, especially when you're looking at American history. But this is the problem for a lot of other different types of groups of people that have this battle with whiteness and this battle with the fragile white superiority. And it's just like, damn. Like, it's exhausting. It is truly exhausting. It is really defeating. It's terrible to, like, live in a body that you know, celebrate so much, but have to at the same time live in so much fear and concern and defense all the time because it is constantly being threatened.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Like it's just you know, we struggle with existence, man.
Yeah.
And for no reason. And you know, that's ultimately why, you know, we have to speak. We have to be political. We have to be policymakers, and we have to be lawyers, and we have to be politicians, and we have to be judges, and we have to be advocates and speakers and CEOs and all of this stuff to start to, like, all of those things that we've been doing, like, they're not new, to continue to push and try to change this seemingly undefeatable enemy.
It's sad.
It's really sad.
It's sad.
It's really sad. It's really tough. It's really scary.
It's sad.
It sucks. Like,
it's very, I think the appropriate word is probably somber.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very somber feeling. Because I don't know about you, but like, immediately when I saw this case, it's the first case for me that's very similar to Trayvon Martin.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember how devastated I was when that case happened, and how everything played out, how I just knew that he was going to be guilty.
We knew that man was going to jail.
I just knew. And he wasn't. And so here we are, however many years later, and there's no part of me that feels like they're going to be convicted at all.
Right. You don't. Like, you're just waiting for it to play out in the same old
right. Like, I'm just
what's happening. Right.
Yeah. I'm just like, because I'm looking at this and I'm like, with the trespass, I mean, they had more on him than they had on Trayvon Martin. Mm-hmm. So I'm just like, is it going to be the same thing? I mean, we're only one state away. We're in Georgia now. Mm-hmm. Like, it's not. It doesn't give you hope. You know, and it is. I think at that point, that's when faith comes in, spirituality comes in, whatever you use to uplift yourself. Like, that's what comes in to have you feel positive towards it. But I think my overall feeling, even with my faith, is very just, this whole thing is sad. And, you know, I would love to see it play out positively, but I don't have the expectation.
Yeah. That's just the way it's been set up. Is that we can't expect justice.
No.
Can't expect justice. And that's ridiculous.
The fact that this is not a hate crime, it's not being investigated as a hate crime, is already an issue. Like,
and here we go again-ish. Like,
yeah, here we go again. Like, you're already starting all the way wrong.
mm-hmm.
That's just from my criminal justice experience.
It's hate crime until proven otherwise.
Yeah, like you're already starting wrong. Like, you automatically have ruled it before anybody has been charged. You've ruled it before.
There's been no hearing of anything, and it's just already not.
And shame on the prosecutors, because it's your fault. Mm-hmm. Because it's easier to try it as something else versus trying it as a hate crime, which I get because you want to get them convicted. However, it's still a hate crime, and now that you're not documenting it as a hate crime,
what are you showing?
You're adding to the precedent that these types of things are not hate crimes.
Right, and I can rely on that as a crutch.
Exactly.
To do anything, because now it's just regular old. Not to say that murder is regular, but when we look at things like this, it creates a different precedent when you add hate crime to it. Like this is something that's different. So, and it's something that matters more in the morality of the whole thing.
Yes, and especially in a state like Georgia where lynchings happen prominently.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is not New York. This is Georgia. This is the South.
Right.
You need to be setting precedents there.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
It's just the people who are in power and who remain in power. Whew. It's hard to tackle the red South states. It really is. It really is. And those are where the most bloodshed has been. Those is where most of our people have sacrificed their lives in building this country. So. Mm-hmm. It's some shit.
Yeah, it's tough, and I'm not here for it.
Yeah.
I'm not here for it. Angry.
Mm-hmm.